I'm playing football, and I love ball. Not to say that guys that don't show up don't love ball, but it's just different strokes for different folks. This is just my process, and yeah, I'm gonna play regardless. Whether I'm on this team, on not on this team, I don't really. I'm gonna just play. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm prepared the utmost, so that when the opportunity does come, I'm gonna be ready to go out there and ball.
Got to ask you about the Vic Fangio video, kicking rocks. Tell us about that.
Nah, man, it just so happened that I posted that right when the news came out that Vic got fired. I wasn't necessarily sure that Vic got fired until after I posted the video. It just so happened that I picked up some random rocks, kicked them, and filmed it, posted on Instagram. Everybody wants to call me the bad guy. I'm innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. All I was doing was just posting a simple video. It has an analogy, but the analogy had nothing to do with Vic. I wish that brother the best.
So Jevon Holland, OTAs have just begun. He's had an active offseason. Still waiting for that contract. He did say this, and I do. We're going to get into some of the stuff Jevon Holland has done, but I do agree with this. When they asked him about his contract extension, he said if they haven't extended Tua yet, they're not talking about me at all, which is right because Tua is priority number one. But Jevon Holland, he says he wasn't taking shots at Vic Fangio when he said kick rocks, and it just came out at the same time that Vic Fangio got fired. Newsflash, he didn't get fired. He quit. He left. Nonetheless. So he wasn't saying kick rocks. But then this week was asked about the difference between Anthony Weaver, the new defensive coordinator, and Vic Fangio. And Jevon Holland said, Anthony Weaver's just a good person. Okay. He's innocent in this. He's just saying Anthony Weaver's a good person. Not saying anything bad about Vic Fangio.
All I know is this, right?
Go ahead. Break the facts down. This is what I really want to get to. I'll just kind of set everything up.
My thing is this. Whether you don't like a person, you're a part of a team. You're part of an organization, right? I don't care. I'm saying if you need a Vlad at Vlad 2078. To me, Jevon Holland was fronting all last season because he used whatever displeasure he had with Vic Fangio to not help his team. Because every Tuesday he was at Toyota of Hollywood talking when he could have been playing.
He was injured. He had double knee problems.
Okay.
Whether you're not
okay,
I do want to state this. For as much as
the way he's sounding, Cousin, if Anthony Weaver was the defensive coordinator, he would have been playing those games.
Oh, I don't know about that.
That's what it sounds to me.
He did miss some Tuesdays at Hollywood Kia. He did miss a few for
Hollywood Kia. I don't want to mess up the affiliate.
But he did miss some games. I know he was doing some rehab.
But he was still on every Tuesday talking about the games.
Not every Tuesday.
Mostly. Okay,
yeah.
so then therefore you talking all of this. All I know is that that defense was a top 10 defense.
Right.
Top 6 up until the last couple of weeks. It wasn't a defense fault that towards the end of the season. It wasn't the defense. It was a lot of injuries on that defense, and Vic was finding ways to still have a productive defense. He lost 2 of his pass rushers. Okay, he didn't have most of his secondary, and it still was a top 10 defense. You had a top 5 offense and a top 10 defense, which is the recipe for success. So, Mr. Weaver, you had a great team in Baltimore, but this defense better be just as good as last year's defense. And I don't want to hear about injuries or you don't have this player and you don't have that. Hey, tough tatas. You got to make sure that this defense is just as good or even better than last year's defense.
Yeah, a couple things I do want to break down, whether it's not I don't want to do matter of opinion right now, but Jevon Holland, whether he liked Vic Fangio or not, whether Vic Fangio is a good person or not, Jevon Holland, before he got hurt last year, was on the trajectory of being an all-pro. So he might not like Vic Fangio, but Vic Fangio definitely had him playing at an all-pro level, putting him in that position. Number 2, like you said, Vlad, this defense was highly rated and was very good. Now you cut Anthony Weaver in here. If this defense isn't as good this year, or is it similar to last year's? Because for the most part, I mean, I know Christian Wilkins is gone and there's a couple of things different. It's always going to be a little bit different. But if this defense is drastically worse, you can't give it time. Vic Fangio only had 1 year. So the timing, forget about that. Vic Fangio only had 1 year. Anthony Weaver's got 1 year. I'm going to be keeping a keen eye, of course, on the Dolphins defense. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the Philadelphia Eagles defense because guess what, Vlad? If this Dolphins defense kind of tail spins down, and the Eagles' defense is very, very good, what can be said then? "Oh, we don't like Vic Fangio." Okay. There's a lot of people I don't like that I can still admit they do their job pretty darn good. So, Jevon Holland was on an all-pro trajectory. Hurt. I understand that. That happens. You get hurt, you can't play. This defense was still very good under Vic Fangio, whether you liked it or not. And now we have to see what's gonna happen with Anthony Weaver. The players seem to like him.
That's good.
Now, a lot of people say, well, Vic Fangio was a stick in the mud. And there were times like the Bills when Stephon Diggs was cooking Cater Kahoo. But this is another thing. Vic Fangio, yes, send Xavier Howard over there. The other thing is this, Xavier Howard, go on over to Cater and say, get away. I got this. And what's your coach going to do? So you kind of put it on both of them right there. There was times that Vic Fangio seemed kind of stick in the muddish, but at the time, his defenses were very good. I thought they were very good. So I don't know if there's so much. We're going to see now. Anthony Weaver might be great, but this is one of the things I hope this is not one of those situations where.
It's not, I hope it's not a cultural thing.
What do you mean by cultural?
One guy's old
One guy's younger.
and the other guy's younger, maybe more relatable. Because that's what it seems like. If you look at the Dolphins, they're a young, chic,
Right.
up to date team,
Which has
and
been kind of their problem.
if you notice that some of their coaches, they're old school, and their old school ways is successful for the most part, but it still rubs the players wrong. Like Brian Flores, old school mentality.
Mhm.
Maybe that, didn't start off too well, but he always ended the season pretty strong. Vic, old school mentality.
What I don't want to happen is this, and I pray this doesn't happen. Vic Fangio, not very well liked, but got good results. Anthony Weaver, loved, but not very good results. You know what I mean? Like, would you rather have a guy you don't like that gets good results or a guy that you get along with great but doesn't give you good results? So what we're going to be doing is keeping a keen eye, not just on the Dolphins defense, but the Eagles defense, and also not to shoot strays at anybody. I'm keeping an eye on Christian Wilkins this year too. I want to see what he does.
Oh, let me tell you this.
I
If
just want to see what he
94
does. And if he earns his
94
keep.
if 94 balls out and listen, who he's
More
next
power
to?
him. More
He's
power
next
to
to
him.
number
Yeah.
98.
The best in the game.
One of the best in the game, Mac Crosby, if not the best. He's going to eat.
He might
He's
not.
going to eat.
We're gonna watch.
Other than guy, and we don't want this for anyone. We don't want no injuries. If there's no injuries, Christian Wilkins is gonna eat.
We'll see.
And with him eating, you guys are gonna starve.
We're gonna see. I don't know. We'll see. But those are the guys I want to keep an eye on just to see what they do.
I love your positivity, man. You're always you're always optimistic,
I am optimistic. I want to keep an eye on everybody.
and I'm realistic.
I'm not just gonna watch the Dolphins. I want to watch these Eagles. I want to see what their defense does, and I want to watch Christian Wilkins. Christian Wilkins did anything wrong. I think he did everything right, but I want to see if he earned his keep. Because if he doesn't, then you say, "Good job, Dolphins." If he does, you say, "Man, you should have paid him." So keeping everybody accountable. Everybody's accountable. Jevon Holland, he is in a contract year. Going to see what he's up to. He's not playing under the, what do you call it? The wrath of Vic Fangio. It's Anthony Weaver. Once again, Anthony Weaver has just as much time as Vic Fangio. So no excuses when it comes to that.
1 year. You got
Yep.
1 season.
You can't say, well, it's going to take a little
Yeah.
while.
And let's keep it. We always keep it a buck
We
here,
will.
right? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What was the defense 2 years ago in 2022?
What was it?
It wasn't that great. Who
Yeah.
was the defensive coordinator at the time? They fired his ass.
They fired everybody.
Okay, so you brought Vic in, and Vic brought that defense to a top 10. It was top 5. Somebody from the 954 says, Dan, bottom line is this defense would have been top 5 if Kicking Rocks was coaching Philly last season. Man,
Oh,
literally
really?
cost us some games.
Okay.
Top 10 is good. What can be better?
Okay. Let's
guess
see
what?
this year.
Hold
Let's
on.
just see this year. I'm just saying. That's
But
what
not-
I'm watching.
Who's in 954? Your defense was worse than top 10 last year, and your defense was actually top 5 through week 15 until that Baltimore game. So
Yeah.
you could say what you want. Y'all could hate Vic all you want. He's maybe an old curmudgeon,
So
but he was damn good.
is the argument they're making that you and I could have coached the defense flat and they still would have been a top 5 defense? Is that the argument that they're
They
making?
trying to say maybe if you and I were coaching, we would have made it the top 5
Oh.
defense instead of top 10.
Yeah.
They hate Vic. Why? Because Vic what?
Is he not here anymore?
All right.
We're going to keep
There's
it.
a lot of coaches that are not here, and then they go to other places and they become very successful.
I'm not being negative. What I'm saying is I want to keep an eye on our defense, Philadelphia's defense. I want to see what Christian Wilkins does. I just want a broad spectrum of things. And at the end, we'll assess and reassess and see what moves have been made, positive, negative, everything like that. Jevon Holland may have the greatest defensive year anyone's ever had. And you could say Anthony Weaver got the most out of him. He was shackled by Vic Fangio. Time will tell.